This is the source. This is where the Namekians have come from. We even get this cool shot right here of when Freeza, aka Freeza, used his death ball to do the legendary 5-minute destruction of planet Namek. Amazing animation. That looks so sick. And showing how it goes into Namek and it starts blowing up everything. I love how this animation makes it like it was instantly. Totally was not the case in the actual Z series. And then we get back to the OG Namek land, and it's kind of like a broken down Namek. And Nahare ends up explaining here, like, yeah, this is the source. This is where the Namekians have come from. And he talks about how different it looks. We even get this cool shot right here of when Freeza, aka Freeza, used his death ball to do the legendary 5-minute destruction of planet Namek. Amazing animation. That looks so sick. Fantastic. Boy, I'm telling you guys, if I'm hoping that whenever Dragon Ball Super's moral arc and granola arc gets animated, this is the type of illustration. This is the type of animation we need. Fantastic. And showing how it goes into Namek and it starts blowing up everything. This is great just to see. Awesome moment to relive. I love how this animation makes it like it was instantly. Totally was not the case in the actual Z series. So yeah, it looks really abandoned here, and Son Goku's like, oh, I'm getting hungry, and Glorio's like, well, big deal, we have to just deal with it and everything because we got to get to that Dragon Ball. And Goku, and then plus all their food's been destroyed. Goku, of course, had those bugs from earlier episodes, and he starts wondering, like, it might rebuild stamina, maybe it'll make you hungry. And he offers, hey, do you want one, Nahare? And he's like, no, I don't want any of those bugs. And Pansy's like, nah, I'm good. And that tells you the fact that Pansy's from the demon realm and she doesn't want none of these, like, yeah, that says a lot. So Goku, he ends up eating this bug for stamina, and he's like, he's like, it tastes nasty. But boom, you get the impact frame looking like he about to go Super Saiyajin, and there Goku's power is restored, and he says it even makes him feel a little bit less hungry. He's kind of half full at this point. So right here we getting all the ruins, like the Namekians, just it's completely ruined from here. And Goku, he starts sensing, he feels that Vegeta and them have arrived into the second demon realm. And of course, I think, was it 1022? I think it was the pin number, so they gave him that pin number probably, which is how they got there. So Goku starts flying back, figuring they should meet up with their friends. And Pansy's like, he can sense people here, and Nahare said, yeah, that's one of his abilities. And Glorio's like, he's an interesting guy, this Son Goku is. And so we get cut back right here. I love the pacing of this episode. We're just all over the place and everything. Everything's moving along really good. And so there you go. Hibiscus, Piccolo, Vegeta, and Bulma are all there in the ship, and she's basically asking Piccolo, like, you must feel right at home, right, knowing that this is where you and your people came from. And Piccolo's like, basically his father, he basically mentions how his father is the one that came from the demon realm. He wasn't born yet. And shout out to Gita 101, because I had kind of almost forgot this, so I was able to see this on his tweet that he put it on X/Twitter. Piccolo's referring here, the nameless Namekian, child of Katatsu, who was the name of the Namekian before Kami and Piccolo DAIMA split. And if you remember in early Dragon Ball Z, during the Saiyan saga, that was actually shown in a flashback, basically, because Kami had to relieve himself of that evil density, which became Piccolo DAIMA. So this was really cool. This is like in the early young years of Kami and everything. So man, it was great to see that brought back, because I had forgot about that moment back in early Dragon Ball Z. And so from here we get Son Goku. He comes flying up, and Vegeta's like, oh, it's Kakarot. And then he's like, I thought that was in you have Hibiscus was like, I thought that was Goku. And then Bulma, aka Bulma, explains to him that he has two names. And so Goku, he's basically, because he believes they can't hear him, he's just doing all this sign language, basically telling them to stop, and that, hey, there's danger, and there's these big monsters. He's like, I thought that was hilarious. And just Goku basically just trying to explain to them and everything. And I'm like, at this point, like, why didn't he just talk? Doesn't Piccolo have like the really good hearing? But then I guess if Piccolo's in a enclosed space, maybe he can't hear them and stuff like that. Only in an open space can he hear them and everything. So once again, just the animation looks really awesome, very well drawn here. And Piccolo's like, let him in so we can hear what he's trying to say. So Goku comes in and he's like, guys, there's these big monsters. If you fly too close to the water, they're gonna come and get you. And Vegeta, he starts roasting Goku and he's like, oh, how pathetic, Kakarot, scared of a little old big monster. And then right here, Vegeta's just chilling, looking, and then boom, the water comes out and there's the eye. And Vegeta, you see if you look at the lower hand screen there, Vegeta starts sweating like, holy crap. And Bulma's like, ah! And this big thing is come back to try and get them, and he's almost got them, and boom, misses. And then once, of course, the tentacles come out after their ship, and they are able to barely escape. And you see how forward everybody ended up moving. And yeah, he won't be eating them. And Kakarot, and Vegeta's like, holy crap, you were right, Kakarot. I love that's Piccolo and Vegeta both trying to roast Goku, and they end up getting scared too as well in Dragon Ball DAIMA. That's twice that's happened. And Goku's like, yeah, see, I wasn't exaggerating. And Bulma, aka Bulma, she goes off on Hibiscus because he's like, why didn't you tell us that flying close to the water was that dangerous? And he's like, well, this is the first time I've ever flown in the demon realm, so I didn't know. And so Goku, he's basically telling me, like, yeah, that thing completely destroyed our ship. That's why we were waiting for you all so we can catch a ride. And Vegeta's like, oh. And I honestly, I'm thinking he's like Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods at this point recently because, oh man, you guys, if you follow WWE and recently storylines, basically Big E, who was a big part of this faction called the New Day, he comes in and he's trying to bridge the gap between Kofi and Xavier, who've been arguing. And Xavier Woods is like, now you come and try to be back with us? Now you come? All these years that we were having these ups and downs, now you want to come? I'm thinking Vegeta's like this at this point with Goku, because Vegeta is like, oh, so now you want to hitch a ride with us? Because wasn't it just the last episode or two that they wanted to hitch a ride with Goku? And he's like, nah, we don't got enough space. And now Goku basically, he expects to receive that same treatment. So I can't blame Vegeta for being angry. And so all the rest of our gang are finally together. The whole crew is here at last. And I really love the shot of how they had Piccolo basically coming off right here onto the new soil where the Namekians are originally from, and Goku says the same thing like Bulma, aka Bulma, like, must feel good to be back in your place of origin, huh, Piccolo? And Piccolo's like, I'll tell you the same thing that I told Bulma. And he's like, that it was, my father came from this place, of course talking about his ancestral father before he split into Kami and Piccolo Daima. And Piccolo even says though here that something did felt usually good about this place and everything. So this was cool to see. And Bulma, she ends up letting Nahare know from here that basically, hey, you're because she hears that they're calling her Nahare, and like, that's your real name. And Goku's like, yeah, that's what his real name is. And she's like, oh wow, we never knew that. And she kind of like, tell us more about like the the heritage of where you're from. And he ends up talking about, well, I could tell you the story of the Glens, but shouldn't we get going for the Dragon Balls? And Goku's like, yeah, I don't want to hear about that nonsense. But Bulma, aka Bulma, insists that we hear that story. And so this is one of the most talked about parts of this episode, and this is really cool. This right here changes the whole dynamic of the entire Dragon Ball landscape here, because right here, Nahare, he drops some gospel on us, some holy gospel about the entire multiverse of the Dragon Ball universe. Solomon in the chat says Goku and Shin have a lot in common. Yeah, definitely. They definitely do. They come from whole different worlds, right? And so I'm gonna do my best here to try and remember all this. So